Hey, and welcome to this video about franchise option when it comes to starting up a MedSpa versus an independent MedSpa. And I'm really going to get into a way smarter way to build your MedSpa in this video. So this is going to be a strategic comparison for medical professionals and also entrepreneurs evaluating their path to spa ownership, right? If you're someone who is looking to start up your own med spa and launch it successfully and make it a super good business, then this video is for you. All right, let's get into it. So first things first, the decision that most new owners will face. Now, this is a very difficult choice sometimes. How should you go about starting up your med spa? First of all, there is a lot of different questions when it comes to starting all the way from scratch. And a lot of times going with a franchise seems like a very attractive and appealing option because they already have it figured out, right? That's what you think. So when medical professionals and also entrepreneurs, you don't have to be a medical professional, when they explore a med spa ownership and franchises, they will then often appear as a perfect option and also a very safe route to go. And the appeal is understandable, right? Established brand recognition, proven operational systems, and comprehensive training programs promise to eliminate the uncertainty of starting from scratch. Sounds great, right? Now, franchises market themselves as a turnkey solution, offering brand credibility that theoretically attracts clients from day one. For professionals without business experience, this structure feels very approachable and reassuring. Now, the franchise model provides a clear procedure, vendor relationships, and marketing templates. You could almost call it a business in a box, right? It's very appealing. However, perceived safety doesn't always translate into long-term profitability or strategic control. So before you commit to very huge franchise fees and operational constraints, it is worth it to examine what you're actually gaining and what you're giving up. So that's what we're going to be covering in this video. Now, what the franchises don't tell you is that behind the polished sales presentations and the brand recognition promises lie constraints that will impact your profitability and autonomy for years to come. Understanding that these limitations is essential before you make a decision on, am I going to go with a franchise or am I going to go completely solo and independent? But, oh, what then? I have a lot more to do, right? Now, with the franchises, you'll typically have about 7 to 8% ongoing royalty fees. Now, this is calculated on gross revenue, not profit. So you're going to be paying even during the slow months, even when operating at a loss, even when you're not taking home any salary yourself. And these fees, of course, will compound over time, significantly reducing your take-home earnings. That's worth considering. Now, vendor login requirements. Very often, franchises will mandate specific suppliers for devices, for products, and consumables, often above market rates. Why would you want to go with that, right? And you're also going to be prohibited from negotiating better deals or sourcing alternatives. Now, this is maybe not for every single franchise out there, but it is 9 out of 10, even when superior options exist. They could, as an example, I had a client last week tell me that she was considering this franchise, but they had her go with a 10K investment into some product lines. You know, 10K for you, it might not be so much, or maybe it does, but bottom line is they required her to go with a 10K investment for some products, some skincare that she didn't even believe in. She didn't even want it, right? But she had nothing to say. Then you also have limited brand and service control. Now, your ability to customize services, adjusting pricing, or pivot your market positioning is restricted by the franchise guidelines. So innovation and local market adaptation becomes pretty difficult or even in some cases impossible, right? It's not really your brand. Some people would go to the extent of saying it's not really your own business. And then there's the ongoing fees regardless of performance, right? So even during the startup phase, economic downturns or seasonal slowdowns, the franchise fee will continue. And of course they do, that's just how it is, if you like it or not. Now, the franchisor's revenue is guaranteed, yours is not. A lot of people, and if you listen to anything in this video, let this be it. A lot of people start a med spa, right? They get the most fancy space, nice location, beautiful. They get all the fancy devices, and they add a lot of overhead because it can be what it requires to build this beautiful med spa. But the truth is, that is not what's gonna get you clients. Even going with a franchise that's got this big brand, it's still not gonna guarantee you any clients. And what is a business without any clients? And if you're relying on this to be the only things getting your clients in, like the brand, fancy devices and fancy locations, that's not a safe way to go. Let me put it like that. All right, now to the next thing. The true cost of a franchise, well, it might seem pretty manageable, right? But it will accumulate over time, and it will, of course, also dramatically reduce your profitability and limits wealth building potential. Now, it might seem so pessimistic, but it is very, very crucial for me to really tell you what is the truth behind the franchise, because for some people, it is the perfect option. But you should always consider the ups and downs with whatever option you might go with when it comes to business. Now, there is a $350,000 difference by year 5. So what does that mean? Well, take a look at the model here, and really based on a typical MedSpa revenue of $1.2 million annually, franchise royalties and mandated vendor markups cost owners, and there's been studies about this, approximately over $70,000 per year compared to independent operators. Over 5 years, that's capital that you could have reinvested in marketing to actually get clients, right, and make money, staff development, equipment upgrades, or simply taking home some profit. Now, the franchise brand, of course, comes at a significant premium, one that really grows exponentially over time. And this analysis doesn't even account for the initial franchise fees, which can actually range anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. Some might offer you to get started with a franchise for about 30, 40K-ish, but it's not the whole truth, because when you do get started, there is more things that you need to add. As an example, they will have some requirements. As an example, the example I gave you. This client of mine who had to commit to buying 10K worth of product lines, even if she didn't want to. And that's all before you even open up your doors. Which, realistically, investing 50, 100, or even 200,000 or even more to start up a med spa is more than normal. But only if you actually have a real business plan on how am I going to ensure that this gets profitable, right? Because you don't want to have a med spa in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that is collecting dust on the expensive devices. You're not selling anything. You don't have a client acquisition strategy. And unfortunately, it's the truth for many, many people that start up a med spa. So what you actually need to succeed is, okay, first of all, the franchise brand recognition matters less than you think. What truly drives med spa success are operational fundamentals that any well-supported independent owner can achieve without a franchise. So first is consistent client flow, reliable systems to attract, convert, and retain clients through targeted marketing and excellent service delivery. And then secondly, proven operational systems. You have to have documented processes for scheduling, client management, inventory, compliance, and staff workflows that will ensure smooth day-to-day operations. And then also, third of all, expert strategic guidance. And this is where you again might feel like, well, the franchise might be able to really help me, and maybe that's true. Now, access to industry expertise for positioning, service menu optimization, pricing strategy, and growth planning will be crucial for you to make sure that you simply make less mistakes. Flexibility to adapt, the fourth. Freedom to pivot services, adjust to market demands, and test new treatments and optimize your own business model without any franchise restrictions. Now, our model, which I also want to present for you, is that we believe you should be owning 100% of your own business. So build your asset, keep your profit. We provide the strategy, we provide the systems and execution support to launch and grow your med spa without taking a single percentage of your revenue or controlling any of your business decisions. And this means that this partnership model will give you the support and expertise of a franchise without sacrificing control or profitability. You also get the guidance when you need it and everything that you need to make your own decisions and 100% of the upside. Now, what it also gives you is, you might think, well, what if I work with a franchise? They've helped so many other people launch. And that's true. Now, on the other hand, with our model, we have helped over 200 clinics be successful, launch, and get clients in the door. And because of that, well, there's maybe a couple franchises out there that has worked with that amount of clinics and, launched them and all of that, which is great. The truth is, what is the most important thing here is, with all the 200 plus clinics that we have helped at this point, we have gathered so much data, and this might sound boring, all the data from what is actually working, right? Especially also when it comes to getting clients in the door. What kind of services are bringing in the most amount of clients? What devices should you buy? And what is going to make you more profitable? We know that because we are working with over, right now, 100 active clinics, and we've been in business for 6 years. Now, enough talking about that. Strategy and systems. So you get a comprehensive launch planning, operational frameworks, and proven protocols tailored to your market and vision. You also get, very importantly, maybe even most importantly, client acquisition support. So you get all of our marketing strategies, booking optimization, and conversion systems that will fill your schedule, not just branding materials. We want to get you real people through the door that pays you and pays you well. 0 revenue share. So no ongoing royalties, no percentage of your sales. Your revenue is yours to keep and reinvest as you see fit. Lastly, complete ownership. So you get full control over your own brand, services, vendors, pricing, and business strategy. You're building your own equity in an asset that you truly own. So pause this video right now and look through the side-by-side comparison if you want to dive deeper into this and get a little summary. And with that said, as a summary for you, why high-performing owners choose independence? Well, the most successful and profitable MedSpa operators, they aren't franchise owners, right? They're independent business builders who understand that long-term wealth comes from ownership and not licensing. Control and agility. Top performers, they value the ability to pivot quickly and test new treatments and optimize operations without waiting for approval, waiting for corporate approval. And you also want to be able to really maximize your profits. So keeping your revenue for yourself, not paying 7 to 8% in royalty fees, and also being able to build a real asset, building equity in a business that you truly own, creating an asset with full market value when it comes to maybe doing an exit at some point. Experienced operators also recognize that franchise brand recognition provides diminishing returns in the medical industry, right? Local reputation, clinical excellence, and strategic marketing matters far more. I cannot stress it enough. And independent owners can excel in all 3 while keeping more profit. And that's pretty cool. So who is this best for? Well, our model is designed for medical professionals and entrepreneurs who want to build valuable and profitable businesses on their own terms. So it is ideal if you value that you have your own control over business decisions, understand that long-term wealth comes from ownership and not licensing, and if you really want that guidance without giving any equity up or any of your revenue, and that you prefer flexibility to adapt your services and positioning to your market, and that you again have full control, right? And that you're committed to building a business and not just buying a job where you work 70, 80 hours a week. So who should consider franchises? Well, franchises might suit operators who prioritize brand recognition over profitability, and they prefer a more rigid structure over flexibility, or that they're uncomfortable making independent business decisions. Now, if you're willing to sacrifice long-term profit for perceived safety, that path does of course exist, but it is not the smartest financial choice. Also because if you go down the independent route and you do get a real partner, you're still gonna have a partner, a consultant who's gonna be able to coach you on all the business decisions that you don't feel comfortable with. All right, Build your own asset, keep the profits, stay in control. You don't necessarily need a franchise to succeed in the med spa industry. With the right strategic partner, you can launch and grow a thriving med spa while maintaining 100% of the ownership and maximizing your profitability, and also building more long-term wealth. The choice is yours. Pay ongoing fees for a licensed brand or invest in building an asset that you truly own. If you're interested in hearing more about this, then click the link down below to book a call with us and hear about how this all works and how it can work for you, and make sure that you can launch your own med spa in less than 3 months.